Hello everyone, and welcome back to Attack of the Great Pile. In last week's episode, we finished building the Tiger 2, and on this week's episode, we break stuff to make stuff, address glaring issues in the instructions, play with decals larger than bedsheets, give our tank the Al Pacino paint job, destroy any evidence before the DEA discovers us, FBI, open up! Get our new shoes dirty, just like Mama said not to, culminating in a 99% complete Tiger 2 model ready for diorama design. So let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? To kick things off, we're going to go ahead and start by removing the tracks from the turret to prepare the surface for decal placement. With the tracks removed, I'll be applying Vallejo's gloss varnish to provide the decals the best opportunity to adhere to the turret's surface. After quickly checking the instructions, I realized that something's not right. They have the position for the vehicle number in the wrong spot. The vehicle number is supposed to be placed ahead of the Balkan crates, seen here in the original photo from 1944 of a King Tiger in Budapest. To additionally help the decal fit to the surface, I'm using Tamiya's Mark Fit Super Strong and making relief cuts to the decal to help it contour to the surface better. These decals are not original to this kit, but I recommend that you take similar steps considering the geometry of the turret. To get the most realistic results, I apply more Mark Fit to the top of the decal and then use my dry brush to stipple the decal into the Zimmerit. I wasn't kidding when I said these decals are larger than bedsheets. These decals are from a third-party vendor and appear to be using a full-page decal membrane sheet in a printer, requiring the builder to cut the decal down to a more user-friendly size and shape. After letting the decals set for a minute or two, I then go over them with gloss varnish to seal them in and reduce the chances of the decal from lifting and resulting in what model builders call silvering.
Brother, what's that?
With the decals sealed away under the gloss varnish, now it's time to create some uniformity across the surface of the model. So I then drown the surface in satin varnish in preparation for the next steps. I also noticed a small imperfection in the finish. I managed to scrub it away using a paintbrush and water, as most of the stuff I'm using is water-based paint anyways. I'm also applying a very quick coat as satin varnish to the bottom of the tank because I will also be applying some camouflage to that, primarily on the front. Told you I'd be breaking stuff, so I'm removing most of the BII components simply because I'm going to be doing a winter wash on the tank, and these wouldn't necessarily have the winter wash, or if they did, it would generally rub off quickly because these are commonly used components.
3,000 years later.
So now I'm applying heavy chipping fluid. So the way this works is it reactivates with water, and you can replicate this if you don't have an airbrush by using hairspray. So what happens is you spray on your heavy chipping fluid or hairspray, and then you put your coat of paint on top, and then to reactivate the chipping fluid, you then wet your brush and you scrub it against the paint to create a chipping or scratching effect. And that's how I'm going to get that worn paint finish that I'm really looking for. Here I'm applying a very thinned down ivory paint to replicate the German winter wash camouflage paint scheme. While I'm doing this, let's talk about why I picked number 334 for the model. Königstiger 334 was the 4th tank of the 3rd platoon of the 3rd company assigned to Schwerpanzerabteilung 503. This tank was commanded by Kurt Knispel, the highest scoring tank gunner and commander of the war, with 168 credited kills and an additional 30 unconfirmed kills. I chose to replicate his tank partly because of his impressive record, and after reading somewhere that he had intervened when an officer from the Double S group, read into that, you'll figure it out, was mistreating and attacking POWs. I do not know the legitimacy of that account, but if it's true, that would be great. Knispel was promoted to the rank of sergeant on the 27th of April 1945. and was ultimately fatally wounded in combat on the 28th of April. Yeah, the next day. After fragmentation from a T-34 round, or a mine, some conflicting reports there, struck him in the head. His crew brought him back to a field hospital where he died 2 hours after arriving at the field hospital. And for any of you out there who are keeping track of dates, yeah, he died within 2 or 3 weeks of the end of the war in the European theater. Now that we have the ivory coat applied fairly evenly, guess what? We get to scrub it. Using my larger dry brush, I'm soaking it in water and then using brush strokes that would help replicate the wear of the paint over time. It is important to keep from scrubbing in circles as best as you can, or you run the risk of removing all the paint. Fortunately, the Zimmerit coating will help both preserve the whitewash and at the same time provide ample raised surfaces to showcase the worn finish. Also take into consideration where crew members may walk or grab onto the surface of the tank. This will also greatly help add to the overall realism of the model. With the whitewash worn down, it's time to start adding AK's Winter Streaking Grime. This ties in nicely with the overall color scheme I'm going for. As you can see, I'm applying it quite liberally to the surface. I have some white spirits in the metal dish that I'm using to both clean my brush and thin down the grime. I will be applying this heavily in positions where I feel the crew would walk, sit, or climb onto the vehicle, as well as in some recessed lines along the turret and engine deck. Please be aware that this generally takes quite a bit of time to set in, but you can kind of push it to dry a little bit faster by using a blow dryer. But again, you got to be careful that your blow dryer isn't pushing so much airflow that you start pushing the streaking grime into areas you don't want it. As you can see, this is very much a trust the process sort of scenario. It looks worse at first, and then it starts leveling out, and it blends in quite nicely with the surface. I would highly recommend that if you're on the fence about using this, get some Q-tips with a little bit of mineral spirits and just dip them in there, and you can scrub away some of the excess if you're not too sure about how it's looking. You can always add to it, and you can wash it away usually within the first 24 hours. After 24 hours, it's pretty much set in, and you're going to have a hard time trying to lift it. See what I mean? Worse before it's better. We aren't out of the woods just yet. Just because the hull has been all beat up, it doesn't mean the wheels don't get any love either. For this, I'll be using Vallejo's Diorama Effects texture paint, and then going over that with AK's Dark Mud Enamel Wash. I really like how these two applications accent each other very well, and really sell the idea of fresh mud caked up on the road wheels. I will also be applying this same application onto the back fenders on the inside, the mud flap area. To help sell the idea that the tank is heavily worn, I want to add rust effects to the edges of the side skirts. I first tried AK's medium and heavy rust deposits, but I wasn't seeing the results I was hoping for, so I broke out trusty Dirty Down rust effects. AK's stuff isn't bad, not at all, but I have yet to really figure out how to get the results I'm hoping for from them. Maybe Dirty Down's just been spoiling me all along. So, let me know if you guys have better results. Time to reinstall the turret-mounted tracks. Guess what? They're getting rust effects too. It's important to check them from all angles. Being 100% honest, I almost forgot to paint the top edges of the tracks, but thankfully, I had the camera looking straight down on the model to show me what I was missing. I would have caught it eventually. Liar! 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 See? Told you I'd get it. Also, putting a little bit of Dirty Down on the ring for the machine gun mount on the commander's cupola really sells it. I also make sure to quickly touch up the exhaust, as unfortunately some of the Dirty Down had scrubbed away. Hey, guess what? We're finally getting to put the BII back on the vehicle. Fortunately, it went on pretty smoothly. I can't really complain too much.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Good talk, Coach. Thanks.
What? I mean it. Seriously, like, take a look at all this. It's going on pretty smooth. The only issue was some of the cables on the right-hand side of the tank. Yeah, that gave me a bit of trouble, but hey, in all honesty, it went together just fine.
Oh, there it is.
I don't know what it was about these two cables, but they just didn't want to sit down completely flat on first try, so it took a little bit of finagling, but hey, it's on there. Everything's back on the tank. It's not an issue. We can go ahead and Charlie Mike. It's not a problem. Now, I totally understand. Some of you may be asking, why didn't I put them on before I put the winter grime on? Simply put, creative liberty? I don't know. I just thought it would look better that way. So that's what I did. It's entirely up to you if you want to do it the same way or change it up a little bit. You know, it's kind of beauty is in the eye of the beer holder, you know? Just maybe a few more beers. For the muzzle device, I understand some of you are asking why it's tan. This is why. It's going to make sense here in a minute. So I'm using AK's engine exhaust pigments, right? So it's a powder, and I'm going to be using white spirits to apply it and make sure that it cakes on, right? So it'll cake up and it'll look like actual muzzle blast deposits. Don't worry, it's still drying. You'll see it at the end. Here I'm just knocking out some of the final touch-ups for the tank, primarily using rust effects, tracing the right track skirt, the front fenders, the edge of the headlight mount, and then following the recessed seam that runs along the upper edge of the hull roof, to replicate the type of rust you would see from water collecting in what is essentially a low-capacity gutter. You can see that I'm applying it rather heavily in that trough, but I'll be going back with a waterlogged brush to help thin and blend it out and make it look more uniform. Here we go again, with the top edge of the turret-mounted tracks. Told you I'd get to it.
Really?
See? Told you. You trust me now?
Of course!
Really?
No.
Alright, fine. Well, that wraps it up for this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. In all honesty, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys have kept me on this project for, what is this, 8 weeks now? And I'm very, very satisfied with the results, and I can't thank you guys enough for the support. Honestly, without you guys, this would have been a half-built kit put away back in the box, and I'd find it probably in the next 5 years going, what happened here? But I'd like to say thank you for hanging out this long. If you guys liked it, hit like, drop a comment. If you aren't subscribed, why aren't you? Like, if you're watching my stuff, I'd truly appreciate it if you subscribe it. It doesn't really require a lot from you, but it means the world to me. It truly does. As an up-and-coming channel, it's huge. And I truly appreciate y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.